Hello, hi. We are back to drawing Canon Warriors characters for my design blog. And first things first, I want to get this out of the way. From now on, these types of videos in particular, I'm going to be condensing down because trying to edit 40-minute long videos is not fun. It's not fun. I don't like doing it. I will put up with it for Splash Clan, but there's only so long. There's only so I don't have enough patience for every single video I post to be 40 minutes long. I can't keep doing it. So we're condensing these. I'm not going to be talking about as many designs, but I will still be drawing the cats in bursts of 10. So if you want to see the rest of this set of designs that I did, they've already been posted. Like, these designs have been posted. I posted them back in October, and I'm recording this in early December. Who knows when this video is going to be put out, but yeah, those designs have already been posted. So if you would like to see these designs as soon as possible, you can go check out the design blog, which will be in my description. So anyways, first off, we are drawing Dustpaw, who first appears in Chapter 4, on page 44 of Into the Wild, and he is first name dropped by Greypaw, who mentions while everyone is mourning Redtail, like, oh, Dustpaw will be sad because Dustpaw was Redtail's apprentice, you know. And there's not much really I can say about Dustpaw, because, you know, there's a lot I can say about Dustpelt. There's a lot to talk about with Dustpelt, but this is Dustpaw. And he was only Dustpaw for, what, a book and a half? Maybe? I can't remember at what point in Fire and Ice he and Sandstorm became warriors. But either way, there's not much to talk about with Dustpaw, because I feel like a lot of the things that you could say about Dustpaw, you could say about Sandstorm, because she's a much more interesting character. But either way, Dustpaw. This is Dustpaw. We're concluding my thoughts about the character of Dustpaw. I don't know, he was a bully, and then he was not a bully, and that was his character arc. Dustpelt, yippee. Anyways, now talking about his design, there's a lot more I can talk about there. Particularly with the fact that, Ravenpaw is his brother, apparently, which I don't love. I don't love that decision, for many reasons, but whatever, they are canonically brothers as of Graystripe's vow, apparently. I should probably double check that. But either way, he does have parents, according to the family tree, and those parents are, I forget who they are. I think it was Robin Wing and Fuzzy Pelt. Is that who they were? I forget. But because that familial relationship has never been confirmed in the books, I'm not taking it as canon. Until they say it, not counting it. So I got to have a bit more freedom with his design. As opposed to others, because, like I said, I consider what the parents and grandparents and whatever other family members a cat has before going into his design. I have actually started drawing out the family trees of cats far in advance and coming up with basic designs just so I have an idea of, like, what coat colors and eye colors are being passed down. It's a bit ridiculous. I have, like, a full Procreate file just of Warrior Cat's family trees. It's kind of ridiculous. But anyway, as for his, the thought process of his design, I didn't think a lot going into it because I felt like I had a good idea of what Dustpaw looked like. I imagine him, I wanted to distinguish him from the other dark brown tabbies in ThunderClan, so I gave him a more, or less saturated color palette to tie into his name. That just, you know, him being called Dustpaw has always made me think that he's not a very saturated shade of brown. Oh, what else? I did also want to tie him back to Ravenpaw in some ways, but I also wanted to make him look as un-Ravenpaw as possible, just so that, you know, you could tie into that story, like, oh, not only does he look nothing like Ravenpaw, but he also wants nothing to do with Ravenpaw, so he's able to get away with that. You know, you could come up with some story justification for why in the books they never mention that they're brothers, aside from the fact that this was made up purely for stupid family tree reasons. But either way, I gave him, you know, similar looking ears, and I also gave him the white markings, which he does not have in his original design in the books, which I ended up doing partially because I wanted to tie him back to Ravenpaw, and I thought that was like a fun idea, but also because Dustpelt has a daughter named Ice Cloud, who is a pure white cat. And in case you don't know, the cat that Dustpelt has babies with is not a white cat. So where is this white coming from? Nowhere. It comes from nowhere. But I wanted it to come from somewhere. So I just gave Dustpelt white on his pelt to hopefully be able to tie him back not only to Ravenpaw but to his daughter better. But aside from that, that's Dustpelt. Dustpaw, not Dustpelt. We're not there yet. We're still on Into the Wild. That's my Dustpelt. Dustpaw. Oh my god. It is too late for me to be recording this video. Dustpaw. Dustpaw. This is Dustpaw. We are moving on. The next appearing cat is Sandpaw, who, this was one of my favorite designs I have done. She came out just how I was picturing her in my brain, and I really like this design. I'm really proud of it. There's not much else I can say, just because, I don't know, that I always have had a very distinctive, I've always had a really good idea of what Sandstorm looks like. So it was very easy for me to just kind of draw her and not really think about, like, oh, what shape of ears does she have? What are her body proportions like? I didn't need to think about that, which I know is going to be a thing I'm going to have to do for the characters we get, for the characters I have to draw further and further into the future, because I know why this is. Because I have seen so many drawings and so many character designs for the first arc cats, specifically the Into the Wild characters, that I don't need to think about it. I know what they look like. I've seen so many interpretations of the characters from the fandom that I've unconsciously picked and choosed. That's not how you say that. I've subconsciously picked and I've chosen things that I've liked about the designs and the interpretations that I've seen from across the fandom, across the 10 years that I've been in the fandom, that I've just, this is what it has come to. This is how I see Sandpaw. This is 10 years of seeing Sandpaw designs put on paper. But either way, what's there to say about Sandpaw? There really isn't much. There really isn't much. Because just like Dustpaw, she is a stereotypical bully character who, as an adult, learns her ways and gets with the main character. But I mean, unlike Dustpaw stays, more or less the same throughout his life. He was a bully as an apprentice, and then as a warrior, he's stayed that, like, kind of moody, grumpy, not happy looking guy. And whereas Sandstorm was a bully, but she ended up becoming a lot nicer of a person than Dustpaw. Person? Cat? Whatever. She ended up becoming a lot better of a person, and she ended up getting with the cat who she bullied. And there's a lot more to say there, because Sandstorm is just a more interesting character. Aside from that, what can I say? Oh, her family tree. She doesn't have one. Not anymore. Originally on the family tree, her parents were Brindleface and Redtail, which I hate. But because her mom being Brindleface would mean that Squirrelflight and Ashfur are cousins? Would it make them? No. It would make Ashfur Squirrelflight's uncle. He would be her uncle. And that's terrible. And I think people complained about it to the point that they were just like, okay, Sandstorm, you've lost the privilege of having parents on the family tree. So she doesn't have parents anymore, which thank God. Thank God. She can just be as she is. Like, she doesn't need parents, you guys. We don't need to know this. I've said this in the past, but God, do I wish they stuck with the idea that the allegiances only have the cats that Fireheart, Star, Paw, whatever you want to call it, whoever, you know, the cats that Fireheart is interacting with, those are the only cats in the allegiances. And I don't know if they kept this up after the first book, but this is absolutely the case for Into the Wild. There are so many cats in the first book where they're described, and then you go to the allegiances and you're like, oh, this description doesn't match any cat at all. Even a cat from another clan. This is just like a total nobody. This is a rando. And I wish they kept that up, because you know what that leads to? That leads to fan theories and stuff like, what if this character that we see at the gathering, who we never learn the name of, is one Whisker's dad? I guess there wouldn't be any Wing Clan cats at the gathering. They were gone. What if, this cat at the gathering was Running Nose's dad? What if this cat, like, you could just have theories. And I think that would make the fandom much more interesting if we didn't know every single cat in ThunderClan and didn't know, you know, where they came from. For all we know, Sandstorm could have been a kitty pet, and the clan is keeping that from her. Like, imagine that. Imagine if one day the clan was like, oh, by the way, Sandstorm, we actually found you in Two Leg Place. You were an abandoned kit, and we took you in, so you were probably a kitty pet at some point. Imagine the reveal. She'd be like, so you let me bully Firepaw for months about being a kitty pet when I was a kitty pet the whole time? Are you serious? Like, I like the idea that some cats just, we don't know who their parents are, rather than like, oh, this is their parent. This random cat from Blue Star's Prophecy is their parent. I feel like I could get very, very heated about this discussion, but I don't know if talking about Sandstorm is the cat that's going to do it for me, the cat that's going to, like, get me heated about this discussion. But either way, there's not much else I can say. Sandstorm, Sandpaw, it's Sandpaw. We're not doing this again. I'm not messing up their names anymore. Nope, this is Sandpaw, and we are moving on. And the next cat that I am drawing is Halftail. And oh boy, if you thought I didn't have enough to talk about with Dustpaw and Sandpaw, I have nothing to talk about with this guy. Halftail is one of the nobodiest nobodies in ThunderClan. He is such a nobody. He's okay, aside from Small Ear, who we not meet. He gets name dropped far earlier on. Halftail is one of the elders who does nothing. The only thing that I can think of that he does is that he is the first of the elders that we meet in the Elder's Den when Firepaw and Greypaw go in early into the wild. And then he dies. And then he dies in a fire. He breathes in too much smoke and he drops dead. That's Halftail. That is him. So, character-wise, he doesn't do much. I'm sure he had some scenes here and there where he said something or did something, but I can't think of anything, which just goes to show that he is a nobody. He is a nobody. He did nothing. But either way, you know what we can talk about? His family tree and, you know, what I the research that I did to design him. So, family tree, he has no parents. We don't know who his parents are. Thank God. Thank God they didn't make up parents for him, because we don't need to know. Who cares? Who cares who Halftail's parents are? He has a mate, though, and that is One Eye. That is confirmed. Mate is One Eye, and they have 2 kittens together, which are Mousefur and Running Wind. I have not designed Running Wind. I believe he will be in the second batch of designs that I do. The next batch? Yes. He's in the next batch of I can't even talk. Oh my god. Running Wind is in the next batch of designs that I'm doing. And if you would like to know what cats are next, it's on my Tumblr. It's on the pinned post on my Tumblr, which you can check out. But I have designed Mousefur. So he has the exact same color palette that Mousefur does, just with different eyes. And I believe he has a different ear and nose color. I think. Yes, he does. His are more pink. Hers are like gray. But yeah, I had a good idea of what I wanted him to look like. I always imagined Halftail as looking kind of scruffy, you know, a little beat up, but still looking not aggressive in any way, not, you know, mean looking. He just looks like an old guy. I, of course, gave him a mustache and a beard because it's just, I feel like I have to do it at this point. Drawing mustaches and beards on cats is so fun. I have to, like, restrain myself when designing a male warrior cats character to not do it. I have to stop myself because it's just, I feel like I have to do it. I feel like I have to do it because it's just so fun. I love drawing them. Aside from that, I specifically designed his stripes to look Running Windish. Does that make sense? I don't know. I haven't designed Running Wind yet, obviously. You know, I haven't gotten around to getting to Running Wind yet. He'll be, like I said, he's in the next set of designs that I'm doing. So I had to think, like, oh, what is Running Wind going to look like, and how do I add those characteristics of a character I have not drawn to his parent? In which all I did was I thought, like, okay, Running Wind, speedy guy, fast guy, spiky with cool looking stripes, and I just that was what I did. I gave him Running Wind-ish looking stripes, and I gave him that, like, would you call it a mullet? I don't know if you'd call it a mullet, like the spiky fur on the back of his neck. That's something I know Running Wind is gonna have to have. That just feels very, very Running Wind. Aside from that, what else can I say? I lengthened his tail. I made his tail longer than it probably should have been because I wanted it to be fluffy. and I wanted it to be noticeable. But either way, what else is there to say here? It's Halftail. There really isn't much for me to say here, because he didn't really do much. Aside from be there, do a few things, and then die in book 4. Oh, poor Halftail. They could have done something with him, and yet they didn't. Did they even do anything with him in the prequels? I can't remember. I just know his warrior name was Sparrowpelt. Or something, I don't know. Did he do anything? Like, at least with Patchpelt, who was an even bigger nobody than him, at least he got to, like, I don't know, do something in Blue Star's prophecy. He was there in the nursery when Blue Star was a kid. He's Leopardfoot's brother. You know, he got to do something, have a bit of an identity. Did Halftail do anything? I don't know. Here he is. There's Halftail. There's Halftail. And that should conclude this video. This shortened drawing Canon Warriors characters. Hopefully, this video will be edited and posted at the time that I want it to be. And I won't be too unmotivated to edit a video now that it's not 40 minutes long. Dear God. Oh my God. You don't think editing a video is that hard until you go and do it. And it's in front of you and you're like, oh, this is awful. This is terrible. I hate this. I love making videos, but I hate this part of it. But anyways, that is the end of this. One little note that I would like to make, though. Little advertisement. There is now a Splash Clan Tumblr blog where I take requests for little, you know, I've been taking requests for, like, that little expression meme. I post full biographies of all the characters. Just warning, they are very spoilery. They are very, very, very spoilery. So I would be careful if you don't want to be spoiled for what cats are dead. Yeah, I've been posting over there, and if you would like to check it out, you can. Asks are open. You can ask about any character, ask lore questions, whatever. And that's about it. That is the end of this video, and hopefully I will be back to posting soon.